We're going to be talking about our lock to right lunge today and how we can use three-dimensional shaping to make it something extraordinary.
So we're going to take the lock to the right lunge combination and we're going to walk you through a couple of different design options. The first option is probably a little bit simpler of the three today. And this is one of my personal favorites, which is keeping our sway to the left, to the man's left, in the turning lock. Okay, so just for those of you that don't know what this combination is, this combination starts from promenade position. We lock and lunge. Okay, so in that one we didn't really have much sway going on. We'll now show you option one. A man has a sway to his left, and I'm going to keep it to my left in that lock. So I don't want to neutralise. I want to keep that sway to the left. So I'm taking the couple to promenade position with my sway to the left. I'm going to keep that sway as we lock. Keep it as we lunge, and then, of course, change it in the right lunge. Maybe we'll just show you from one more angle. Is that okay?
Now it's very tempting for the lady here to really dive into that shape, especially when there is a sway to my right, and man's left, our corresponding sway to the right. It's very easy from the promenade to want to really go to where he's swaying towards. Yeah, this is not good for our right lunge. I have to be very careful in ensuring that while we are progressing forwards and swaying to my right, I am again staying on my man's right side. Yes.
It's a very clear offset position. Yeah, that's a very important point. Now, our second option here is to change the sway during the turning lock. Okay, now this is a little bit more dynamic, there's a little bit more going on here. So the start is the same. We take ourselves to promenade with a sway to my left, leg is right. What we're going to do through the second step, through the drive step, is change the sway to our right, leg is left, and lock with that sway. Now what we're going to do is change it back to the man's left, which is across the rise into the lowering. So we don't want to keep the sway to the man's right, leg is left. If we do, it would look a little bit odd. So if we change it and then keep it, you can see that we have no natural connection between the lock and the right lunge, and that sway will probably cause us to fall out of the lock into the right lunge. So we want to change it back. So that's a two sway changes there. Maybe we'll try that at home. Promenade position, sway right and left into lunge. Good. Maybe one more time from that angle.
I think it's important to note that when we talk about different sway changes in the right lunge, we often talk about it directly in that lunge, and how we can time it and sway it. There are probably an infinite amount of ways that we can do that. But there's also options here, as you can see, in the lock preceding the right lunge. And that's where you can make it really interesting. We don't want to make our routines predictable by having a standard lock and then trying to do something beautiful in the right lunge. We are really trying to make something dynamic and unpredictable to enter that right lunge.
Yeah, exactly. We're now going to show you one more variation or one more design. What we're going to do in this combination is something unpredictable. Okay, so quite often, if you were to dance, let's say a throwaway oversway, and take yourself to Promenade, head into the corner, it is quite predictable that you might expect to see a couple dance and lock into a right lunge into the corner. To make it fun and exciting to watch, we will break that pattern. Okay, so what we're going to do now is put in a right lunge or a rolling right lunge between the lock and the right lunge. Okay, so this one's a little bit exciting. Beautiful. Maybe one more angle. If I'm going to be honest, of those three, that one felt the best. That is actually really, really lovely. It's very rolling feeling, it's very active, and also quite exciting to watch as well.
If I was to do something like this with my partner, if I was teaching with my students how to execute this figure, I'd really be talking about the timing of when we do our sway changes. I'd be talking about how much sway we want to produce, and I'd be talking about how we coordinate that together. Now those three things are individual and may vary from couple to couple, depending on preferences, depending on style, but that's really, those are the points you really should have agreement on between your partner so that you can execute it beautifully and in harmony.
In this combination, we're not just changing our sway dynamically, but we're also dynamically changing our direction of movement. And we're using the sway to do that. So this is why the timing of the sway change, as Talysa was saying, is very, very important. If I change my sway too late, it's actually very difficult to go back in the direction that we just came from.
And I feel like he's leaving a different step.
So what I'm doing here is I'm actually changing my sway earlier through the dry action, so that Talysa knows that that's cutting out the movement and the energy. It's got a very, very rolling kind of sensation when we dance that. Actually very similar to like a tiffle chassé almost, and a quick step where it's very up and over.
Yeah, very rainbow.
Very rainbow, yeah. So if we try that hold, actually maybe we'll do it this way. So from Promenade, changing this way early, giving the lady lots of notice, and then going to roll back into the right lunge, keep that sway and change it through. Second right lunge. So we kind of roll into the right lunge. We're going to feel that the lady's head shapes very much to the left. We're then going to move with that same sway as we go into the turning lock. And then we're going to change sway very similarly to the second combination that we did today.
I think you can agree that that is quite an unpredictable exit from a promenade position, but one that creates big dynamics and will draw a lot of attention to your dancing, which is what you want on that competition floor, or even on your social dancing floor.
Again, we would advise that you try all three combinations, and as well remember that there are other versions, other styles that you can create, but these are three common ones. So good luck, and let us know how you go in the